Exactly.
All right. Thoughts on New York Times VAT versus wealth tax article. Did you have a chance to read that article, or do you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about it, right? This is really strange. So here's the thing. I don't care about VAT. I really don't. All I care about is Yang. So I'm not a huge fan of UBI. I never was, right? But the reality is I had to get sold on UBI. I was like, great, everybody's going to get paid to do nothing? But then I just listened. I just shut my mouth and I listened to a person who's much smarter than me. Andrew Yang is much smarter than me. His rollout of UBI is perfect, right? It is $1,000 a month for every living American, right? And the reality is, that's another thing I really wish he would start talking about. There's going to be two things that happen with that. There's going to be a lot of people who need help who are going to get help, but there's going to be a lot of, like me. Here's what my $1,000 a month is going to get spent on. So if I get $1,000 a month, $400 is going to be spent on sneakers, and then another $200 is going to be spent on comic books, and then the other $400, I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to help other people. And I think there's going to be millions of Americans who don't need that money who help other Americans, and I think that's really, really critical, right? So the VAT versus the wealth tax. Here's the thing: I do not care about UBI. I do not care about VAT. I care about Yang. I have been following politics since I was a wee little tot, right? And I'm telling you, Yang is special. I have never seen anyone like this dude ever. And that's the issue is I trust Yang. I do not trust UBI. I don't trust VAT. I trust that Yang is a crazy intelligent dude with a huge heart who genuinely loves Americans and really wants this job to make this country better. Not to build a dynasty, not to become wealthy, not all the other nonsense that all these candidates are running for. And so that's the issue is like that, and like all the, and I know other people are like, you got to care about the numbers and all this stuff. And I'm like, I trust the dude. And I'll tell you right now, I feel perfectly okay saying that because that's what we need to win most people. Smart people care about numbers. Most people care about people.
Yeah, I think you're right that most people care about people. Yeah. My take is I prefer the VAT over the wealth tax, and for me the reason is the whole point of the UBI is to basically allow Americans to participate in the pockets of the economy that are experiencing extreme economic growth. And the VAT is the best way to capture and participate in that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And secondly, I don't think Republicans I think they would just go like their head would explode with the notion of a wealth tax, whereas a VAT I think is a little easier to kind of get people behind. But that's
I'll get a little more in the weeds with it, right? So one of the things that I saw this week was actually I read an article that they were citing anonymous sources. And there were a lot of big donors go, you put Warren up, it's done. We ain't giving you no money, right? And so, yeah, and that's because Warren rolled hard on the wealthy. And that's another thing. We talked about it earlier, right? Warren didn't pick the right opponent, right? Here's the thing. She thought the wealthy were safe as an opponent, but the problem is wealthy are people. And people know, and poor people know wealthy people. And in America, you cannot roll hard on the wealthy. And the reason why is every American thinks they're going to be wealthy, right? I mean, everybody, even people who have no reason to think they're wealthy because they can go buy a scratcher, right? Like, and that, and the scratchers now are like $1 billion, like you can get Powerball for $1 billion. So whenever you say, oh, I'm rolling hard on the wealthy, people who are like buying peanut butter to eat for tomorrow are saying, hey, I'm going to be wealthy, and then you're going to take all my Powerball money. Like, it's like you can't, and that is the future of politics, is picking the right opponent. And people aren't getting this. You cannot punch down, and you cannot roll on any people. You have to make your opponents systems and things, and that's exactly what Yang saw a year. Like he saw that when he wrote his book. He's a decade ahead of everybody.
I hear you. I think he's on the right track with the VAT, and I think he's thinking it through. I saw a Yang ad on Snapchat. I think we will see TV ads. Question.
If we get the money, absolutely. And I think Yang will. I think he's going to go to Hollywood, and I think he's going to go to Silicon Valley. maybe Whoopi. Maybe Whoopi will start introducing him to some real Hollywood celebrities, and he needs some real cash. And I'll tell you right now, every single Democrat needs to abandon Yang first. Abandon this grassroots nonsense. We ain't got time for it. We need like get them Exxon people in the room and writing checks. We need cash if we're gonna win this thing.
Yeah, I think we're going to raise more this quarter than last for sure, and I would expect some of that money to go to TV because we are doing darn well on Google search and YouTube searches and Twitter. We need to reach the people that don't use those platforms, and TV is a great way to do that. Someone's asking you about your sneakers.
I'm a sneakerhead. I'm a huge sneakerhead. I love sneakers. So right now my main jam is Vans. I got these super dope black Vans with the black stripe, right? I'm really down with Nike SB Dunks. I really like Jordans a lot, but I have a pathetic small, very like same thing, right? Like I really want a 92 dope Honda CRX, but I own a 2009 Kia Spectra XL. It's the same thing. I own $60 and $80, $100 sneakers, and I have a buddy who owns $1,400 sneakers. But I know what they are when I see them, and I'm like, those are dope kicks, right? So, again, pretty much my life is like loving my wife as best I can and doing as much as I can for my 4 kids, and that makes me way less lame than my interests make me. Makes me more lame than my interests. My interests are a lot more interesting than my actual possessions.
Well, Scott, your interests and your possessions are all super awesome, and there's nothing wrong with that Kia, man. That thing's legit.
It's a great car. I've loved it. It's done extremely well. I got 167,000 miles on it. It's awesome.
It's all about the spoiler, man. It's got the spoiler. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up now. Everybody, please make sure you go YouTube Scott Garibay. He's on there. Subscribe to him. He's got daily videos about Yang 2020. You're always going to hear a different point of view, and I know that not everybody agrees with everything he says, me neither, but you'll think a little different, and it sharpens your own positions, and ultimately that's how we all kind of find our way to try to solve problems together.
Indeed, it's a true honor. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Scott. And nerds, thank you for those of you who've stayed the whole 2 hours. My God, you guys are amazing. And for those of you who are watching this on replay, one thing I should note is, Scott, you mentioned Alyssa.
Yeah, Alyssa Monet Mason.
Yes.
She's fantastic. Go check out her YouTube channel. She's Philly-based. She is truly down for Yang. She's brilliant. And she's really unique. She's one of these people who mixes politics with other cooler things. I'm a huge fan.
And I actually have just been corresponding with her, and we're scheduling to get her some time on Nerds for Yang as well. So I can't wait to learn more about her through this channel.
You're in for a treat. She's really special. Absolutely.
All right, Scott. Well, good night, nerds. We will see you next time. In the meantime, keep it real. And broadcasts. All right, hold on one.